to the show because he's like the one Lions fan I know who's actually like, I don't know, rational. I mean, there's so many irrational fans out there. JB is not one of them. Of course, he hosts a show every day that comes on after Ken and Ken in the morning. Those damn knee biters, I tell you. And of course, we got Mike back there working the ones and twos, doing his producing thing, probably sharing to a million different pages right now. So yeah, hey, happy Father's Day, guys! Happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
Happy Father's Day to everyone who is one. And for those that aren't, if your father is alive, remember to thank him for having no pullout game.
JB's been playing that joke like all weekend.
Gotta
like,
be professional at something.
Yeah, in the chat he was saying that too. Like, he's been waiting to say that on here. I'm finally got my chance. I'm gonna go on Halas on Sunday just so I can say that.
I did. I gotta come on here at least to say that. But no, and I was talking, and you heard me last night, if anybody paid attention on the open mic. I said, offensively, this is the best team the Bears have ever fielded. The only difference is there isn't a vet quarterback. And that's it. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing.
No, JB, I mean, I think we've all said that on paper. On paper, this is the best assembled offensive unit I can ever remember as a Bears fan. We've never been this deep in the wide receiver. We've had two good receivers before, and the third is okay, yeah, but not this much hype. We've had some good tight ends. Like guys like Desmond Clark was a very good tight end in this league. We've had good tight ends, but we weren't this deep at tight end. We've had good running back rooms, just not running back rooms or that were this deep. We've had, I mean, at quarterback, we've always had that, where's Caleb going to fall? We'll wait and see. But I mean, yeah, I mean, and what the funny thing is about this team, and JB, you've heard me say this a few times. Woody's heard me say it. Everyone talks about this Bears offense like, hey, this is still the number one rush defense in the league. This is still a top 5 defensive unit in the league. And no one's even talking about the Bears defense. Like the Bears defense doesn't exist. It's all offense. Well, so, I mean, that should tell you a little something in one way. And another way, it's like people are sleeping on the fact that we have a defense. They're so worried about this offense. It's like the defense is like, oh, yeah, whatever.
No, I said, you've heard me say it on my that defense got better. Say what you want, it got better.
I think it's missing one piece.
Even if Caleb Williams struggles, they should have an 8 or 9 win season.
Hold on, my friend. When he struggles,
you're talking to a guy who does. Yeah, Woody doesn't like Caleb at all.
I say if because we don't know. Could he be the next CJ Stroud? Sure. Could he be the next Ryan Leaf? Absolutely. You don't know. It's all unproven until it gets on the field. Because we heard the same things about Ryan Leaf. We heard the same things about Andre Ware. We heard the same things about Joey Harrington. We've heard the same, there's plenty of quarterbacks that have came out as the first pick overall that we've heard, they're the next generational talent. Demarcus Russell.
And the flip, though, then we've had a lot that we've heard that, and they've panned out to be really good, though, too. So, it's, I mean, the hit rate on the number one pick is 70%. 70% hit rate that they are good. 30% flop. So you hope we're the odds are in our favor, but then again, this is Chicago. We don't have a great track record at drafting quarterbacks. However,
except at QB at the one position. QBs at the one position have busted at a 68% rate.
We had a GM who, to date, when I look at his draft picks, overall, overwhelmingly drafts really well. So I have a little more faith than what he does in Caleb because of polls. Because to me, it's like, look, the only reason we got rid of Justin is because we felt that Caleb was better than he is now and or has a higher ceiling potential. And I trust Poles because of what Poles has done prior in the draft, in his other drafts, and what he's done for this team. I have to have that level of trust in him because he's earned it. So I've kind of compared him to Theo Epstein for the Cubs, like Poles. So, I mean, he's kind of taking the same approach that Theo took with the Cubs, right? So right now I have faith. Now, we'll see if that faith is rewarded. or if it's like, man, we should have gone with Jaden Daniels.
Thank you.
I mean, that's where we're at, and that's all we can really do at this point.
Right. It's all faith and conjecture and hope at this point. It really is. Until they play games on the actual gridiron, 11 on 11 for 60 minutes, it's all faith, hope, and conjecture.
Now, here's the thing, though, Woody. You get to see a truckload of the Bears because every preseason game's on TV, national, being televised live. Because the NFL wants to. They said they want to quote unquote highlight the rookie quarterback this season, so that every rookie quarterback is getting all their games live for preseason. So the Bears, every game will be live on air. No wait until 3:00 in the morning on NFL Network. It will be live, and then we're going to get Hard Knocks. So we're going to see a ton of Caleb. So, like Woody, for you, is there a point in seeing during preseason and Hard Knocks where you may go, what's that byline for you to say, okay, maybe Caleb is going to be okay? Like, is there a byline for you? Like, is there something you're looking for in seeing these preseason games and Hard Knocks where you're going to be like, okay, fine. You know what I mean?
It's like I said, it's hard to say. I mean, to have every preseason, yeah. Did they do that for Bryce last year for the number 1 pick?
No.
On. So I have no idea why they're doing this. Maybe it's his stupid ego, his fucking hair. I have no idea why they're doing. But I'm afraid, like I said last week, I'm afraid of the distraction of the Hard Knocks. I'm thinking that there's going to be a lot of Bajent in this preseason as well. And with the benching of, and me and Ken don't agree on this, OTAs, yes, they're OTAs, but if I was a quarterback that just got drafted number 1, I'll be playing my ass off. I don't care if it's practice, scrimmage, anything. And for him to get benched is proving my point on this quarterback.
But then he came back and had the next day and had a turn. He killed it the next day. So I mean, OTAs is OTAs. I mean, I don't put as much into it because if we put a lot into OTAs, then shit, why is Chase Claypool not the best wide receiver in the NFL right now? Because he's a camp hero every year.
Like I'm saying, if OTAs isn't a big thing, why are they benching players?
It's not an ending. Well, I mean, go ahead, Jimmy.
There was a quote from one of your reporters that said the reason why he was benched and he struggled that day is he was trying to play hero ball. He wasn't just sitting there trying to be a quarterback. Right, he was trying to force things, and he was running away when he didn't need to in the pocket. If he'd have released the ball sooner instead of waiting for a deep route to open, he'd have had a better day. So, again, it goes back to something I said that Caleb needs to work on. Yeah. He needs to work on his pocket presence and his decision.
And I get that because you look at his last year at SC, he was running for his life every down.
Does anybody agree with me out there that we don't know how is anybody like me about Caleb Williams, how I think about him? Now with him, with Jeremy, with him getting fucking benched because he's trying to be the hero. Ken does have a point last week. Do it early so he gets, coached. I'd rather him do it now than he's doing it in a season. So hopefully he doesn't like to play this ego fucking player like I think he is in the beginning of the season. I'm done.
Well, and the thing with Caleb too is he had no line at SC. I mean, the guy was running for his life every down. Right. So I mean, you gotta kind of break yourself of bad habits, right? And that's a bad habit that he needs to break himself of, like JB says. And OTAs is how you do it. Initially you want them to break it. That you want to have those issues during OTAs and not during the regular season, right? So that's a good thing. But like Hard Knocks, the reason we got Hard Knocks and these other guys didn't last year, of course, what was the big story? Well, it was Aaron Rodgers. So of course, that's why the Jets get it. Thank you, Coley. But if you look at this year, I mean, there were 3 eligible teams. So who are you going to take? The Bears, the Broncos, or the Saints? Which one's the more?
Bo Nix. Hey, Jeremy, I take Bo Nix. Let's get them Hard Knocks right now.
But I mean, but okay, really, you're going to take Denver over Chicago if you're HBO, right? And you're like, which one's going to be more compelling to watch on TV? a team that's a complete dumpster fire in Denver, or a team that's trending upwards through free agent acquisition, 2 top 10 draft picks, and all this other noise, which team are you taking?
Are you
for
done?
rating?
Are you done?
I'm gonna go back real quick.
Do you want to have that chance of the distraction? What I was saying a couple weeks ago.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying if you're an HBO executive and you're choosing which team is going to get you the bigger ratings on your television show, do you think it's Denver or Chicago?
Well, since I don't like Caleb, I'll say I love Bo Nix. So you know my answer. Sorry.
So wait. You're saying that if you're an HBO executive, that you think that Denver's story is going to be more compelling to NFL fans than a team that's gone out and spent a ton of money on free agency, had 2 top 10 picks in the draft this year, and was a team that was ascending north last year versus a team that's in complete spiral dumpster fire, dumpster on fire going down a river of water. I mean, really, Denver's
that dumpster fire came back and beat our asses last year. But now, if my question is about the Hard Knocks and stuff like that, is it Caleb Williams, all Caleb Williams, or is it the team we have?
It's all of it. That's why they took it. It's everything that Poles has been doing. It's the signing of free agents. It's the drafting. It's the Bears are the compelling story this year. They are, and look, they're the team with the most buzz. So I mean, it makes sense that HBO wants to film that and get ratings for it on their app.
Go ahead, Jeremy. I know you want to debate me. Go ahead.
What is the key component that they want for the preseason Hard Knocks? Do you know what it is? It's being last place in your division and showing improvement in the offseason before they make their decision.
Yeah.
That's it. That's why the 3-13-1 Lions got it in 2022. Because they knew Carolina wasn't getting out of the basement. They traded away their number one weapon.
Okay, so you Jeremy, you agree with me? It's not all Caleb Williams.
No,
it's not all Caleb Williams. No, it's the whole thing in conjecture.
Yeah, I mean, look at
more in the offseason than every other team at the bottom of their division. Yeah. So they're gonna lean towards you. It's just like last year, the bottom team with the Jets, and they lean towards the Jets.
Well, the Jets got it though because Aaron Rodgers was the story, right? He was the story. I mean, you have a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback switching teams, and look at the Bears were eligible last year too, but they didn't take the Bears. Why? Because Aaron Rodgers was the story. The Bears are the story in totality this year, not just because of Caleb, but because it's Caleb and it's Rome and it's Keenan Allen and it's adding Montez Sweat at the trade deadline last year and it's adding Swift and it's everything the Bears did to improve. And if you look at the last place teams, the Bears, you could say of those 3 teams was the best last place team that has a more likely odds of making the playoffs this year. So that's another reason why they went with the Bears.
Jeremy, what do you think about the Bears picking Swift up? Hopefully you agree with me there as well.
All I know is that DeAndre Swift has only dropped every touchdown pass in one stadium, and it's Soldiers Field.
No, he dropped one at Thanksgiving. Remember that winning one he dropped against us?
Yeah, but all of them were in Chicago, is what I'm saying. Every single touchdown pass he's dropped in his career has been in Chicago.
Well, against Chicago, because that game was in Detroit that Thanksgiving game.
So here's the thing, though. Who was the leading rusher for the Bears last year? Anyone know that?
Probably Justin Fields.
No, Khalil Herbert, running back.
Okay.
Khalil Herbert's still on this team. I think he's still the number 1 guy.
Yep.
I think people are making the assumption that Swift is the number 1 running back, and that's not a bad assumption. I mean, if you're an analyst, that's not a bad assumption to make, considering what Philadelphia.
At the talent level, Swift is a more talented running back than Herbert. But if you look at the longevity and his health,
right,
the two.
I really think Roschon Johnson's. You heard it here. Dude. Roschon Johnson's gonna have a breakout year.
Yeah, I agree.
You heard it here.
I don't think Swift's the number 1 though. I think that's the assumption everyone's running with, and that's fine. Let them run with it. But I still think, and a lot of other people think, Roschon was a steal of that draft for the Bears. They got him.
You know why, right, Tim?
Why is that, Woody?
Because I was want to draft him.
Oh yeah, because you paid that pick. Yeah. You got Roschon. I got Rome. So we'll see how it works.
That's first round pick. Yeah, it's first round's easy.
Hey, everyone else thought they were trading out of 9. I'm like, no, they're picking at 9. It's going to be Rome. But I mean, no, but look at, I mean, going back to Swift though, Swift doesn't have to be the 1. Swift can be the 2 or the 3 even with this running back room. Yeah. I mean, if Roschon busts out, that's the thing. Like Swift can be more of that. They can use like what was Swift really? Let me ask you this, JB. Where did Swift excel in Detroit?
Running outside the tackles.
And in what situations did you guys use him the most? Where you had the most success?
Receiving.
But he dropped a lot. But when he was in Philly,
yeah, but his overall drop rate,
he had the best offensive line in the league.
But his drop rate was
less than 5%, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's still got a good drop. His passing game was big for him, and also short yard, right? He was a goal line guy.
No.
Was he the goal line guy?
No. Most of his touchdowns came from over 10 yards out. Inside the goal line, we used our bigger guys.
So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Because Philly really didn't have anything. He had Gainwell and DeAndre, but he was the short guy in Philly when he was there.
In Philly, he was a short guy. I mean, so look, the Bears don't have to use him as the every down guy. I mean,
Scott and Kenneth Gainwell in the short game last year.
No, you go back to Deion. I watched a lot of the I hate to say the Eagles games because they're local here, and a lot of short gains came from DeAndre.
Okay,
if you can get Swift in space, he's a burner, right? Nathan saying get him in space. Yep. But look, with that running back room, Khalil Herbert could be your number 1. Roschon, if he busts out, is a workhorse kind of guy, big body. You can use him short. He can catch. You can do a lot of things. I mean, that's what I'm saying. People make the assumption, because you hear Packer fans, Swift's going to be hurt after. You're like, dude, the number 1, our number 1 running back is back, right? And the guy that people sleep on, Roschon Johnson, is still there. He outdid Bijan last year head to head in the game we had. So I mean, that Swift is like adding on. Swift is like a luxury signing.
I know, but I don't like too many. It's probably stupid of me to say too many superstars on a team. I like to be in Detroit, a 1-2 punch. Gibbs is going to be phenomenal, like he was his rookie year.
Yeah, and Monty,
Montgomery. I rather a 1-2 punch than a 3-headed monster.
Right, exactly. And a lot of that, you have to give a lot of credit to the O-line because we had a lot of moving pieces due to injury last year, and the game really never stopped.
I mean, I agree with you, Woody. However, I'll say this: it does give you an extra layer of insurance, right?
Of course, the depth. I understand that, but you cannot with the running back depth and stuff. There's not one guy that you can bench to just because of injury.
I mean, look, if you bench Swift, let's say you bench Swift or Swift gets hurt, how bad does that hurt the Bears offense? You're still going to have Khalil Herbert and Roschon Johnson.
So that means
that's what I'm saying. He's a luxury. He's a luxury.
But, all right, so he's a luxury, but can you see that they're going to be playing all 3 guys a lot this year? Can we agree on that?
Yeah, I think initially, and then it'll settle down to like maybe a 2-headed monster.
Until somebody rises to the top. You're going to see about a 30% split with the 3 guys.
And that's fine, Nathan. Like I said, I don't need Swift to be the starter for 17 games. I don't think he's going to be the starter for the first game. I think it's going to be Khalil Herbert is still RB1 as far as I'm concerned. I
don't know who gets hurt more, him or Saquon. And I told Philly fans, Eagle fans as well. We have a great offensive line, but I was like saying Saquon had 2 non-contact injuries, one against Chicago as well. So good luck.
And on turf, which their new stadium has that same turf they had at MetLife.
Yeah, I don't understand why the NFL does this. Like the players, everyone says, like the turf is bad. They can grow grass in these dome stadiums. Some teams do. I don't know why they don't.
Is the only field that's considered worse injury-wise than MetLife right now, and it's happened in the last 2 seasons, is that rolled-out field in Arizona.
Yeah, Ken, let's have our signs up when the Bears build their dome. We want grass. Me and you, buddy.
Yeah, we want grass.
I'm just saying, because of how it is in the environment there, as much as they water it, it dries out too much. They bring it back in and they roll it out and then they paint it. The problem is there's so much humidity down there at field level it gets just as slick as a field that doesn't drain properly. And that's the one thing they did. If you look, the amount of non-contact injuries over the last 2 seasons since they fixed the drainage at MetLife, the injuries are down to what it was the previous 3 years.
Yeah, there you go. Soldier Field is a horrendous field.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that
So was the
Park District. Heck, I could maintain it better. And if you saw my front yard, like, really? I'm like, yeah. I mean, they do such a terrible job. I mean, my yard's way overgrown right now. I need to cut it.
Go take a picture, Ken. I won't approve it.
Dude, my yard is way overgrown. It needs to be cut. I mean, I'm the only reason I'm out there cutting it today is because it's Father's Day. But tomorrow, I'll be at my little riding lawnmower drinking my coffee as I cut the grass.
So, hey, Jeremy, quick question for you, because we were talking about this a couple weeks ago. Would it be Chicago Bear football if they would build a dome?
Yes. You know what? I think any team that builds a stadium in the northern markets, if they want a Super Bowl, they'll build a dome.
So you're saying that's the only reason why they would build a dome, correct?
Pretty much. It's not just that, but it's also a draw for these kids that are out of southern schools. When they come to a team that's a dome and they're asked, well, how are you going to handle the elements? We play in a dome. Remember that?
And there's another layer too.
Coming to Detroit, we play in a dome.
There's another layer though too, because like if the whole thing with downtown, which I don't think the downtown stadium's ever going to happen. Not with the governor of Illinois saying we're giving you no money at all. We refuse. You're not getting one penny from us and all that kind of rhetoric. They own Arlington Heights. They own that property. If the Bears build the stadium there, first off, the Bears are like, as far as net worth, they're like number 2 or 3 on the list right now. They immediately go to number 1 if they build the stadium in Arlington. Because why? They own that stadium. They're going to double or triple the value of that team. But now, not only do they get all the game take on game days, right? Now you can get WrestleMania. Now you can get UFC. Now you can get monster truck rallies. Now you can get whatever else you can put in that stadium, concert series, all that. And the Bears are going to make all that money. That makes the value of that franchise skyrocket, because now are they making money on football. Now they're making their money on anything else that you could put in that stadium throughout the year. And it's just a cash cow. I mean, look at the WWE for WrestleMania. They don't go to Allstate Arena. They go to football stadiums. They try to put 60, 70, 80,000 people in that stadium for that event over 2 or 3 days. Yeah, that's the other reason they do it.
I'm not like disagreeing with the dome and stuff like that. Right. Maybe because I ever since I liked the Bears since I was 5 years old, I've never seen them in a dome. But I can't see. But Minnesota and Detroit, of course, seen them in a dome. But I can't even see Green Bay going to a dome either. So maybe it's because I'm not just used to it. That's what
I think that's the there's everything too. You get a new dome, you get a Super Bowl. I mean, Green Bay
possibly host a Midwest regional NCAA
tournament stuff. Yeah, of course, all that kind of stuff, right? Even the NCAA final, right? I mean, look, that goes into it. Green Bay. Look, Packer fans don't talk about this much.
Nope.
And they keep it out of their media, but dude, they're in trouble losing the Packers in Green Bay. The Packers may move to Milwaukee. Why? Because Milwaukee's willing to build a stadium. If Milwaukee builds a new stadium, what's it going to be? It's going to be a dome stadium.
And the mayor of Green Bay pulled the funding for the updates to the stadium.
So, I mean, look, that's true and it's not true, Nathan. Because I'll tell you what, I've been to many.
Whoa! I want the full effect.
Yeah,
Chicago,
that's true and it's not full true. Effect. Like, here's the thing: our bravado, like Woody and I, will be like, dude, we've been to games where it's 20 degrees, a wind chill of 3 below. We freaking loved it. At the same time, we were probably also freaking miserable. And we were like, thank God the games.
This is what I do when I go to a game. I tailgate. Right when it opens, right? And I'm hammered as fuck when I go in the game. I don't bring my wallet in. I sober up during the game. I'm still warm. I'm going crazy. So I want the full effect.
We love it, but we're happy to get out of the elements when the game's over. I'll tell you that much. But I mean, I look at it makes sense because even like Buffalo eventually will get a dome at some point because there's so much. Look at when teams see like the Raiders build a Death Star, which is Allegiant's a phenomenal stadium, right? And you see all the money now. If you look at Mark Davis, he was worth like $50 million. They build that stadium, now he's worth a couple $1 billion. Also, he's worth a lot more money. And why is that? Why is Jerry Jones continually worth more money? Because of these facilities they build in these domed stadiums. And it's like, look at NFL owners. Okay, do they care that Woody and I want that experience in 20 below zero weather? No. It's
all money.
Money. And when they're seeing that if I build a dome stadium and now I get WrestleManias, I get NCAA tournaments, I get concerts, I get Monster Truck Series, I get conventions, I get whatever, all this extra revenue, right?
And those tickets don't count for NFL revenue. That's the thing. All the concerts, the WWE events, the NCAA events, all that stuff. Even when we host other teams, a portion of that ticket proceeds come back to Detroit more than it would if those teams played away. Like when Buffalo had the snowstorm and they had to come here, we got a higher percentage of that take than we normally get.
Here's a question for Ken. Hey, Ken, do you really think the Chicago Bears and stuff like that, their fans are going to lower and they're not going to be sold out because they're out in the cold? No, but sold out.
But look, here's the problem though. Okay, like you have a football stadium, it's open air stadium, it's going to sit empty for over half the year. You're not going to be able to do anything. Let's look at 2026. There's a massive event coming to the United States in 2026. What do you know what it is? Right?
The World Cup.
Right. And even though it's in the summer months, where are a lot of their games being played? Dome stadiums in Dallas and in Houston. They got the most games in the early rounds. Both are dome stadiums. Now, FIFA mandates you must play on natural grass. Those are going to be natural grass stadiums for the World Cup. So now you think about, look at when's the next time, for Chicago, is this going to affect us? Well, no, but wait. We last had the World Cup in 94. So 30 years later, we have another World Cup. 30 years from now, we get another World Cup. Guess what? Now Chicago maybe gets games because Chicago got games in 94, but we got passed over for this game, for this World Cup.
Soccer players can't play in rain like football players can.
No, they can. But I mean, look, there's a reason why they went to these other facilities because they're a lot nicer. That's the other thing. They're a lot nicer. The fields are going to be a lot better than, because the reason they give the Soldiers is our field is horrendous. But I mean, SoFi is I think it's a hybrid dome like SoFi. SoFi is on a retractable roof, but they've got the open ends. And I think even when we look at the what you've seen for whatever the new Bears stadium is going to be, the roof's not going to open. The sides are going to open. You're still going to get open air. You look at Lucas Oil. Lucas Oil was the first one to do that, right? If you've never been to a game of Lucas Oil, it's a dome. But that one end zone's completely open air when they open the windows. And I think you'll see more of that. And SoFi kind of took that, right? I think you would
that
see.
Ain't my real fun.
Is that you talking to me?
Yeah, that's a fake account.
It's a burner.
That's it. I would say you're going to see. So I mean, look, if the Bears want to feel like 30 below zero in December, dude, they can open the windows.
Oh yeah.
Dan, Lucas, right?
I want to ask Dan that because Dan, you got to calm down. You're too talkative today. Hey, how you feeling, bud? By the way,
not too bad.
So what you're probably going to agree with me because that's what the factor is. Bears getting the dome. What do you think? Yay or nay?
Dome, yeah.
Oh God.
Bring a lot more,
He wants the WrestleMania there. That's why.
NCAA tournament. You'd have WrestleMania. You'd have any of the wrestling major pay-per-views that now are touring.
Yeah.
You have the concerts there. You'll have concerts year-round.
If you'd have been in a dome, Cody Parkey doesn't double doink.
Maybe. Well, that ball got tipped too, but Luca, who's on the morning show a lot.
They did not call a timeout in time too, though. So let's just go back to the replay. But anyway,
I know.
Yeah, but Luca,
Windy City ain't got nothing on gold when he tried to kick that 40-yard field goal in 40-mile-an-hour winds. Like
Luca, I don't know if you remember the '94 Cup, but it's funny to date that the most the most money FIFA's ever made in a World Cup was the U.S. That's why it came back so quickly. They don't require USCs to do anything because we already have everything that they need. We have the stadiums, the hotels, the information nodes. I mean, this what people don't know too, and I was a little off topic, but for FIFA, the United States is always plan 1B if plan A falls through. So if a host nation all of a sudden can't host the game, the World Cup always reverts to the U.S. because the infrastructure in the U.S. is unlike any
Jeremy,
always ready to go.
Whoa.
I didn't type that.
When you get
that's a burner account. I'm not going to. Don't give him any airtime, man. That's a burner.
Wow. What?
He doesn't deserve airtime being a burner account. So I mean that FIFA,
he's bringing heat though, ain't he?
Yeah.
Because I don't have an opinion, so.
I think the Dome Stadium makes sense, and also the valuation of that franchise is going to go through the roof. I'm just hoping, and Illinois needs to change some laws because the problem is going to be when Virginia passes away, that team might be getting sold because they can't pay the tax, the inheritance tax, and that's freaking stupid. I mean that's freaking stupid right there. They want to sell the team.
I know the events and stuff because inside the Dome, but like I said, I live 45 minutes from the shit Lincoln Financial, and they have a lot of concerts. They have a lot of
in the summer, and also it doesn't. Philly's not as cold as Chicago in the winter. I mean, it gets cold, but it's not the same.
I know it's hot as shit out, and I fucking hate it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, at some point, I think someone said in the comments, at some point, every stadium is going to be a dome, be like a SoFi style. Because look, owners aren't stupid; they see the dollar signs. That even Financial Field, December, January, February sits dormant. Nothing goes on there. I mean, if there's not an NFL game, there's nothing that happens there for 3-4 months of the year. That's 3-4 months worth of revenue that they could be generating by doing other things.
They have shit teams anyway. I'm not really worried about it.
Something right now to the burner account. We're not here to talk trash. We're here to talk football. We're here to do informational stuff to educate fans.
Hey, win on Thanksgiving Day, and then talk to me.
Right.
Hey, well, speaking of that, Woody, let's talk about that, Woody, since we got a Lions fans here. So, JB, the Lions obviously suck on Thanksgiving. However, they win once every 7 years. And guess what this year is?
Yep. And I picked them. I picked Detroit to win too. So
do they? Does that hold serve? Do they win this year just based off of that?
Yep.
Yeah, I do believe they do because it's been like a historic thing. Even when we had Barry Sanders, it goes all the way back to then. It was every 7 years. Before Barry Sanders, we actually won it a couple times more often. It was like once every 4. But after Billy Sims got hurt and he left until we drafted Barry Sanders, it was every 7 years.
What's up, Vogs 18?
Luckily, the first 2 times that we did it in 7 years with Barry, it was versus Dallas both times. That was amazing.
Well,
Nathan is saying just because it's a rookie quarterback is the reason why he gets win on Thanksgiving. Okay.
Jeremy, you'll be happy. You'll be happy. Even though we should have swept Detroit last year, I know shoulda, coulda, woulda. Jalen Johnson, thanks for the pick 6 drop. I did pick Detroit to win on Thanksgiving this year against us.
Thank you. But I had that as one of my plus-minus games. And the reason why I say that it's a toss-up is it really depends on the projection of Caleb Williams on whether he can win on the road or not. And don't.
We might have Tyson Bagent playing by then.
I mean, but look, here's the thing. When I look at the Lions, look at the Bears, I even look with the Packers and the Vikings, I could say the same thing. When I look at each of those 4 teams, 17 game schedules,
next, a royal flush.
I see 17 games that are winnable by every team in this division. They're all winnable games. Like the Bears do not have an unwinnable game. The Lions do not have an unwinnable game. The Packers do not have, even with them changing their defensive scheme, do not have any unwinnable games. The Vikings, even with they believe in Darnold is what they're saying. They don't have, but they have 17 winnable games because of the other pieces and the other facets of their teams that make them competitive. this division, this is the first time I can, because usually you can look at, in years past, you can look at a schedule and say, Ravens, yeah, there's no way. But there's not a single game for any of these teams in the North where I go, yeah, they have no chance. Well, there's not a single game where I can say that.
I got a question for Jeremy, Michigan guy. What week is J.J. McCarthy going to fill in for Sam Darnold?
At the latest, week 7.
Ooh. And what makes you say that? Is their schedule, their team, or what?
Sam Darnold was only made the starter because he still sees ghosts, but he named one Jordan and the other one Justin.
Well, the thing is like my favorite quarterback, Bears quarterback of all time, Jim Harbaugh, of course. But he said, and I quote, J.J. McCarthy was the best quarterback in this draft. What do you say, Jeremy?
I say he must have wore blinders last year, because I'll give you my synopsis of J.J. McCarthy. Yes, he was on a team that historically won a lot of games ever since he was a starter. He only had the 3 losses. Wins and losses are not a QB stat. But I will tell you, last year, that McCarthy had just as many what-the throws as he had wild throws, which is a sign that he had decision-making problems and also poor mechanics at times, because he tends to get happy feet if somebody gets close and his feet get to dancing, and when he throws, he's not set. So he'll sail a pass, he'll throw it at someone's feet, he'll throw it to a defender. He needed to stay in college another year to learn how to read a defense.
Yeah, but I mean, you blame him, though. You win a national championship, you strike while the iron's hot, get a first-round pick. I mean, look, I agree with Luca. You don't see McCarthy this year unless Darnold gets injured, because all Darnold has to do, and I've said this time and time again, dude, get your inner neck beard out. Be Kyle Orton for a season. That's all you got to do if you're Sam Darnold. Be Kyle Orton. Be a decent game manager. And look at Kyle Orton. People forget, as a rookie, Kyle Orton won 10 games as a rookie, which is amazing. And he got 0 votes for Rookie of the Year, which blows my mind. He's the reason the Bears make the playoffs that year, because Rex Grossman gets hurt. In comes the rookie. He gets 10 wins. And look, he went on to have a great NFL career. You don't hear much about Kyle Orton, but everywhere he went, what did he do? He was the ultimate game manager. He game managed. He won tons of football games, even with bad teams. Just be Kyle Orton, dude. If you can be Kyle Orton for a year, you're going to win games.
But you're asking somebody who's never been better than Zach Wilson to do something he's never done. Be a quarterback that's 100 times better than him.
He doesn't have to do anything.
Jeremy, the overall question is, I know Ken's been saying it every week, is Minnesota a team we're worried about in the NFC North?
Defensively, yes. Offensively, maybe.
How good do you think Aaron Jones is going to break out this year? Do you think he's going to stick it in Green Bay's ass when they play twice?
Oh, I think that's 100% happening. When he plays against Green Bay, he's going to have record-setting days for himself in his career. I'm talking he's probably going to have 170 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns game 1 in Green Bay.
See, Nathan's got this right. If you're Sam Darnold, just throw to 18 and repeat.
Well, they got, like I said, they have.
Ghost is Justin on the other side, and that one wears an 18 jersey. He's going to throw it to nobody but another team.
Yeah, they have. Don't forget, they have Addison. They got Osborne that's proven himself. Hawkinson, Aaron
Osborne
Jones
isn't there anymore.
What's that?
Osborne left.
Osborne's gone.
Oh, I didn't know that. Sorry.
You got Bernard Powell as their 3rd wide receiver.
Hey, but look, for Sam Darnold, this is the best offensively weaponed team he's ever been on. I don't think he has, as long as he does. I think Darnold's problem is he's always, in his whole career, he tried to go to New York Jets and be the savior and be a hero. And then he went to Carolina and tried to be a hero. Last year, he's in San Francisco. He didn't try to be a hero. His numbers were great, but on the other side of that, though, he wasn't trying to be a hero. He didn't throw any interceptions. He protected the ball better in San Francisco for the limited time he got. I think that's why Minnesota is like feeling pretty good about Darnold this year, because he's got so many weapons to throw to, and if he doesn't try to play hero ball and can just protect the ball, he's going to enjoy the most success he's ever had in his NFL career just by doing that. And that's why I get why the Vikings are kind of on board with it. They're a little more hyped up than, say, the rest of us are.
And
USC
I'm going to
quarterbacks. That's all I got to say.
If you're talking about the worst, the fourth worst secondary in the entire league last year, I expected it, but I still expected us to win.
Yeah.
Because offensively, we were putting up twice as many points as Minnesota on an average.
Tell more about y'all's secondary. Mike Johnson, like where they finished last season, they were still a top 5 defensive back end. There was some drop off. So there was some drop off with the second year guys. Statistically, when you look at the numbers, there was a drop off. You didn't notice it on the field though. The Bears secondary was still really good last year. It is a scary good secondary. I mean, there was some drop off. Maybe they weren't top 5, but they were up there. There was some drop off for sure.
A lot of that was Eddie Jackson.
Yeah, a lot of it was Eddie Jackson was a lot of the problem last year, but there was some drop off though, even with our young corners. There was some drop off statistically. We didn't feel it in the game, but when you look back at PFF at the end of the year and you look at the numbers, there was definitely a sophomore slump, but it wasn't like a significant sophomore slump. So I mean, yeah, our secondary is still probably the best secondary in the division.
And Stevenson's going to have
15th in the league is where you ranked in overall yardage and everything.
Yeah, and a lot of that was the biggest problem was Bojack back there, and they got rid of him.
Yeah,
so
you can't tackle.
Yeah,
but Stevenson's going to have a better second year. He's going to calm down his penalties. A lot of holding, or not holding, but a lot of extracurricular activity. Those 15-yard penalties that's killed us.
That hurt. I love Stevenson. He hits like he reminds me of Sean Taylor in so many ways. But okay, this is a fair question. I think we talked about it early on. Our biggest weakness is we need someone on the other side of Sweat. We need another edge rusher, and we didn't address that. So we addressed it in the 5th round, but he's not the guy who's going to fix it this year. He's a guy I think who next year becomes the fix. They need a guy to bridge this year to next year. And Ngakoue, I think they're going to re-sign Ngakoue. I mean, look at
that's the smartest thing you could do.
Yeah, and before he got hurt, he played a lot better when Sweat got there. And Ngakoue last year statistically was a big down year for him. I mean, but when he got to Chicago, he had 2 rookies in the interior and no one on the other side from him, and he was the only thing getting close to pressure. And he had a down statistical year, but I think if you bring him back on a like it's a deal that's going to be worth $10 million with incentives and everything, $5 million against the cap maybe. I think he's that missing piece on that Bears defense.
If I was him, I would want to come back because no other team wants me.
Yeah, and there's that too. And look, it's a year he can come back, and if he has a really good year with Sweat to be the bridge guy, that he's going to set himself up for a long-term contract somewhere else within our team who's like doesn't have an edge at all, and he's going to set himself up for a nice payday when he leaves Chicago. What do we fear most from Detroit this year? What do you fear from Detroit? Do you fear anything?
They're fucking Gibbs out of the backfield. That's all. I mean, St. Brown, and Laporta. Yeah, their whole offense is they're set on offense. I'm just scared of their whole offense.
What about you, Dan?
I'd throw Montgomery in there too. Montgomery and Gibbs.
Yeah, because what did Montgomery get to do last year for the first time in his career?
Score 5 touchdowns.
Double-digit touchdowns.
Yep.
I for me with the Lions, Goff has his worst games against Chicago, so that mitigates a lot of that for me.
But 6 interceptions in 2 games.
Yeah. 6 of his 10 interceptions were against the Bears, 7. Right? I mean.
It was 6 interceptions to you guys, and there was 3 thrown to the Packers. It was 9 plus 4 fumbles total. So yeah,
I was say like we're almost half his turnovers. But I mean, for me, when I look at the Lions, what I fear from the Lions is it's more like St. Brown getting open for those big 3rd down plays more than anything, because like we mitigate your offense a lot better than anyone else did last year, but were they still like when in the comeback, the game we should have won? Thank you for the drop pick 6, JJ, and thank you for the bad play calling and Bears coaching staff. It was St. Brown getting open when needed, and that's the thing. That X factor. The St. Brown, like, look it, we call him third down Brown for a reason, But the thing is he's always there in those opportune moments, and that's what scares me about the Lions. Is St. Brown seems to find a way at the most inopportune time for us to make a big play. It's not the rest of the offense. It's not J-Mo who's trying to play to even stay on a roster this year. It's St. Brown having that ability to just make that big play every so often.
I'm not trying to be a homer here, but the big difference is J-Mo put 15 pounds of upper muscle mass. He's not getting pressed at the line as easily by these better corners that we just picked up. And he's right. Because Spielman told us on the interview with his brother on CBS Sports that Gibbs is the villain we drafted at 12 overall. Opposing teams now look at Gibbs as the villain. Because it really, if you look at it, compared to Behan, he was the steal of the draft in that first round.
Yep. I like I said, everybody says St. Brown, but I'm Gibbs, and I'm scared of shit. Laporta is like out of this world. They hit a home run with that draft pick.
Yeah, they did. That was a good pick.
Laporta's a younger version of George Kittle. Just look at how he's blocking right now as a rookie. It's exactly how George Kittle did. He wasn't great at it, but he was good enough to help the run game.
Do you think there'll be
receiving?
So do you think Laporta will have a drop off in production this year as a sophomore?
I think he's going to be better.
I don't think it'll be a drop off. I kind of agree with Woody. I see more out of him. And don't be surprised if Jack Campbell ends up getting the green dot this year, because everybody is saying how much the guys around him are looking up to him, including Anzalone is listening to what he's saying, because guess what he did all offseason? He sat in the film room, because the film room's open all year to players.
I mean, the thing with guys not to like J-Mo put on muscle. Every year there's a couple guys on a team that come in. Like, look at Bajan's jacked coming into this camp, right? I mean, every year we see a couple guys on every team. Oh, they put on muscle, they got quicker, blah 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 blah. I mean, look, I get what you're saying, JB, but we hear that every year about certain guys. And for some guys, it does pan out to better numbers, right? But I don't know if that was J-Mo's issue, was his muscle mass or anything like that. I mean, yeah, that's great that he did that, but I don't know if that fixes J-Mo as a receiver. You know what I mean? Like, he's a guy who's got the talent, because we've seen flashes of it. The problem with J-Mo hasn't been his muscle mass or his speed, or it's been his consistency as a wide receiver.
Okay, wait, you're going to talk about consistency. Week 7, after his third game back, he had 3 drops. Do you know when his next drop was after that when targeted?
Playoffs.
The NFC Championship game.
Yep.
So he went 11 straight weeks, and you're talking about his consistency. What you got to look at is whether or not Goff's going to target him.
Or he trusts him.
During that time, since week 8 through the NFC Championship game, you look, Goff threw into double and triple coverage 45 to 50 times when J-Mo was wide open, 15 to 25 yards.
I think that's where Nathan has. Like, Goff has, they got to repair that issue between him and Goff with time on task. And, so adding the muscle, that's great and all, but that's not what he had to fix. I guess.
Well, actually, yes, he did, because it throws off your timing. If you're if they're in press man coverage and they bump you off your route and you can't recover quick enough, or you can't turn them off,
okay, I'll buy that. I'll buy it.
And that's what the coaching staff is talking about and this is Antoine Randall L. He goes, what I've noticed this year, Carlton Davis got ragdolled like he was being blocked by Craig Reynolds by J-Mo.
So let me do this, because we got a few minutes left. Let's talk about let's switch to Green Bay a little bit. Talk about Bears and Lions. And we just had the new show. Where they call, what's Rob calling the show? The
open mic.
No, it's not an open mic. It's the rant zone, right? And Green Bay, there's Green Bay fans. Oh, we're going to run the division still. We're going to do they're switching defensive schemes this year. I mean, what is it about Green Bay where they think, like, every team that switches their defensive scheme, that it takes at least a season? Green Bay seems to think they're going to be a top 10 defense year one with a new scheme.
Well, they said they were already in the scheme half the year. They were going in and out of that scheme.
Because of the nickel. Because we're always in the nickel.
Yeah,
we're not in the base. We're in the nickel.
Set. Listen,
all right, what do you guys?
I'm not scared of Green Bay's defense. They're not going to be top 15. They're not going to be top fucking 10. They're going to be 20 to 25. I'm not worried about their defense at all.
They were 25 last year. Now, Ken from the morning show says he thinks they'll be top 15. I'm like, dude, if you get to 22 or 23, that's a good improvement. Switching your scheme.
Man. You know, let's go back to 2021. We were the 32nd ranked defense overall, running a 3-4 under in 2021, right?
Right.
2 weeks after the draft, after we draft 4 guys on defense that play in a 3-4 defense, AG comes out and goes, we're going to go to a 4-2-5. And I'm sitting there going, wait a minute. We were a 4-man front defense that went to a 3-man run defense. It took us 11 weeks to look like a team on defense. Right. And then we're going to switch it again. And you wonder why we went 1-7 in the first 8 weeks.
So Dan, let me ask you this question. Do you think the Packers defense, which was ranked 25th last year in a 3-4, now they're going to a 4-3, right? Or I inverted it. Either way. Switching scheme, do you think they're anything better than a top, that they even break the top 20?
I don't know. Anything's possible, but I don't know. Probably not right away.
Unless the defensive backfield has 4 great years like that rookie year for Jair Alexander, unless that whole secondary is doing that well in a new scheme, I don't see it.
Yeah, and their new DC is a transition from college to the NFL as well. And Packer fans, well, the Bears are putting in a new offense. I'm like, guys, it's easier to install an offense than it is a defense in the NFL. We've seen it time and time again.
Well, I said it before. I said it before, about the division and stuff like that. I think Chicago's going to get third. I think the fight between Green Bay and Detroit for the first, but I think Detroit's going to pull it out. That's just what
I think Green Bay, though, they've got a good offense, but it's hard. It's hard because we've got 1 year on tape of that offense, and now everyone's got a full year of tape of that offense. No one had come in last year. I mean, but for me, their defense is a massive freaking exposure point. And I could see, and the Packers are the team for me that I could see feeling the worst because of that with the defensive woe.
They have a lot of talent on that defense.
They do.
If you look in that front 7, they've got 5 first-rounders on it. So there's CBs outside of Jair. Yes, it is a weak room. If Jair can stay healthy, and Eric Stokes can get back to what he was his second year, I think that was his best year, they'll be fine. But I don't expect it. I expect them to struggle for 3 or 4 weeks right off the rip. Yep. And I'm just talking the first 3 or 4 weeks, because the offense is good enough to pick that defense up right now if Jordan's playing like second half Jordan.
But what I'm saying is that's the team. If I'm talking about the Bears, the Lions, and the Packers, if there's a team that I'm looking at could be the team like, oh my God, I can't believe they have a down like this. A team that it'd be the Packers because of the defense. Because also the thing with the Packers is this: last year when pinned within their own 20, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, and with some of the new rules and the better kickers now that are becoming the league. Like, that's a team that I could see could struggle early where people are like a little surprised. But to me, when you're switching defense, and you're banking on your offense, if people figure that offense out a little bit during the offseason, that's a team to me that could slide and people be surprised about that. Wouldn't be too surprised. They're the team that has potential to slide.
Little news flash from game film last year. Has the Raiders O-line in Josh Jacobs' career ever been good? Okay. So when he was having all those great years, it's because Josh Jacobs was breaking tackles right at the goal line and busting through to the second level and getting further, right? And he was averaging 4.7 yards per carry on an average through those years. There's a reason why he averaged 3.5 yards per carry after his injuries from the year before that he recovered from and then didn't come back till this last season. He's not breaking tackles anymore.
Yeah. And you're coming into a division with the top 2 run defenses in the NFL.
Actually, there was 3 in the top 10, and it wasn't the Packers.
No, that's what I'm saying. The top 2 though were Chicago and Detroit.
And Vikings.
Yeah. So I mean,
11th that were stopping the run.
Look at Josh Jacobs is a better runner than Aaron Jones, but Aaron Jones I think is a better complete player than Josh Jacobs. So I mean, for me, that was like kind of a lateral move when they made that. And if they would have kept Aaron Jones, then they would have been cooking with something. But they let him go, and now he's making Minnesota better. So on that terrible take, as Jeremy's like, time. Hey, everyone out there, have a great Father's Day. Bears fans, tomorrow morning on Ken and Ken in the morning at 10 Central, we'll have number 88, former tight end Chicago Bears, Desmond Clark, on our show. So make sure you tune in tomorrow morning on Ken and Ken in the morning. But everyone have a great Father's Day, and we'll see you tomorrow on Ken and Ken and Wednesday night on Halas Hall. Have a great day, everyone.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first. The daily podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Around the Indoor Football World, Shield TV, and The Big Football Show. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla Hour, Brosef Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, Bodkin Show, and Spirit of Detroit Podcast. The nightly podcasts are Halas Hall Report, Frozen Tundra Network, Wrestling Roundup, Skull Gang 365, First and 10 with Foz, Prime Sports World, The Man Cave, Prim and Proper Sports, Spitballin' Podcast, Lions Fan Cave Chat, 313 Den Podcast, Puckett, The Guys Huddle, Main Event Football Show, Let's Talk Sports, The Michigan Sports Truth Podcast, and Off the Rails. Hope you enjoy all the shows and feel free to comment, like, share, and subscribe.